brand new project for us over in Cambridge near Porter Square. This is an awesome modern loft that we're working on with Walker Architects. Let's check it out. Oh, nice and clean. This is gonna be an awesome space. So this used to be an old elevator factory, and it's 2 stories. This is street side. We have this existing loft here, which stays. This will be a future office. We're standing in the living room here, and then walking in, this actually all goes away, gets restructured, and becomes basically built-in cabinetry workshop. The opening moves all the way to the left, and you walk in here, and this will be kind of the grand living space. Cabinetry going all the way down that wall. This becomes the L-shaped kitchen island right in front of me here. We're gonna get one of those big ass fans, and I mean that literally. It's an 8-foot big ass fan, made by Big Ass Fan. The spiral staircase goes away. We're actually gonna infill this. And then there's this awesome, we're gonna work with our steel guy and basically build this awesome steel staircase that comes down, which will be a real big focal point. And then you have these heavy timber beams up on the ceiling here, and this steel truss. We're gonna paint that all black, same with the stair. So we get this modern industrial loft look throughout this space. But you just saw Brian. So Brian's working with Mike as a APM on this job, and we are working on demo. Originally we were gonna try to save this floor, but we've been doing some exploratory investigation as far as how we're gonna heat and cool this space. And being 2 stories, love seeing all the COVID and safety signs. Being 2 stories, radiant is gonna be the best way to heat this space. So pulling the floor up and prepping for that. You can see up here, existing bathroom, bedroom, all this goes away. We actually did a little testing. That stuff's hot. What I mean by hot, asbestos. So the demo guys are basically doing all the demo, leaving all this, and the asbestos guys will come in and dismantle this stuff separately, keep everyone safe. But right now they have baseboard heat downstairs and then a couple mini split head units that do a fair job of keeping it, heated and cooled. But we want to improve upon that, which is exactly why we work with Ross Trathui over at T2 Engineering. He's working on putting together a plan for this place. First step was we got a blower door test. Brian, what did the blower door test come in on this place? 7.6. 7.6, which is probably 10 points better than we thought it was gonna come in. So relatively tight, but we're gonna try to get this place air sealed. These 2 walls on the left and right here are actually parting walls, so there's another unit on that side and another unit on that side. So we're actually gonna strip those at the very end of demo, go through, re-insulate them for sound, put 2 layers of board on there with an acoustical green glue, as well as a sound core on the first layer. It has this denser core to absorb a lot of the sound, and then make sure that we're approaching things like up here and down below, really air sealing this unit as much as we can. We're not really touching the front wall, which is a structural brick wall, and this back wall, which essentially is kind of a roof parapet. We'll adjust those and do some air sealing as much as we can, but the roof is probably the biggest factor of leakage, especially with the heavy timber framing and ultimately roof sheathing. There's probably some air leakage up there. We talked about air barrier, but it didn't make sense because pressurizing this unit, we'd run the risk of blowing that material into the neighboring units. Existing bathroom, mechanical room, all that goes away. Everything gets redone. Again, this is a project we're working on with Walker Architects. Really, really cool design. We'll share that design with you soon. But one thing that we were exploring is figuring out we're sitting on a concrete slab, and we have some underground plumbing that we have to do, so that means we're gonna be cutting up our concrete slab in areas. We talked about our subfloor system, and this was a little bit of an exploratory removal, figuring out what the existing system is. And what we have here, let's see if I can get my finger under here. Well, this right here is a PT pressure treated sleeper, roughly 3/4, 5/8. And then we have, actually I think it's maybe closer to an inch. Then we have some foil faced rigid insulation, and then this plastic vapor barrier on top of it. Not a terrible system, but we are dealing with only 5/8 plywood. So we do have a little squish to it. And what we need to determine is what we're gonna remove, what we're gonna leave, because doing radiant, we're gonna have at least a 1/2 inch quick track panel that sits on top of this subfloor before we do our final floor, which is gonna be 3/4. So essentially where we're standing right now, at the very minimum, we're gonna increase the height by a 1/2 inch. So that's why we need to redetermine what our subfloor system is. Actually, here's a great spot. You can see. So right now, concrete, sleeper, 5/8 plywood. So we're adding another 1/2 inch if we do the radiant. So the question is, do we get rid of the sleepers? Do we do a fully adhered system to the concrete slab? One of the biggest concerns, or one of the biggest considerations here, is how flat that floor is. So we're gonna run a laser and check flatness and figure out if it makes sense to leave the sleepers so we can achieve that flat floor. And there's a couple of reasons why we want that. Right now, we're planning on doing a baseboard detail, but you guys have seen in like our 152 and our 144 project, we've done some flush baseboard details. And rather than having this applied baseboard, we're actually bringing our drywall all the way down and having a nice shadow reveal. Actually, that one's got a shadow reveal. I don't think that was intentional. So a flat floor makes that far more achievable, and from an aesthetic standpoint, just looks much better. So quick introduction to this job. Really, really cool project. Sounds like the demo guys locked their keys in the car today, so they're running a little late, but they're gonna keep moving. And it's nice to see a job site nice and clean, especially when we're in the middle of demolition. Got our build clean set up. That'll pop out in the window. Got a vacuum on site. Got these fabric carts, second build clean. It's important, especially when you're working in a building like this. We want to make sure we have our signage. Another thing that we do, which is really important, is we introduce ourselves to not only the building manager, but all of the residents. We'll print out a little flyer, we'll slip it underneath everyone's door, a little picture of who's going to be on site, contact information. Hey, let us know if we're bothering you. We understand that this is, multiple people live here, so we want to make sure we're taking that into consideration. But really important, especially right now, is make sure that we have all of our COVID signage and safety. And just, hey, let them know what our expectations are. As always, guys, if you enjoy these site visits, make sure you let us know, and we'll see you guys next week.